Mike Hopkins has officially been fired by the Washington Huskies. Now, he's going to be allowed to coach during the Pac-12 tournament and any other postseason play, which is probably not very likely to happen. Now, if we win a couple games in the Pac-12 tournament, there's obviously, there's the NIT and there's other places, so we might be in a postseason like that. But in general, obviously the NCAA tournament's not happening unless they win the Pac-12 tournament, which it'd be kind of a funny situation because I wonder what they would do if they go and win the Pac-12 championship and then they go to the tournament. Just imagine a crazy run. I would wonder do they change their mind? Yeah, just kidding. We have to bring you back, I guess. But that's probably not happening. So we can move off the dream of having that happen. Now, it's tough. Mike Hopkins, obviously the writing was on the wall. He needed to be let go. Washington basketball is empty half the time. It's quiet in that gym. There's no direction going in a really cool, exciting way. So it's unfortunate to see Mike Hopkins have to be fired because he is a good guy. It's hard to let coaches go when they're good guys. They care about the young men, and they tried their best for the program. Now, you could be laughing at that statement oh, good guy, whatever, who cares? There are some coaches that aren't. There's some coaches that players hate. There's some guys that are asses to the media. There's guys that have been through scandals and been through recruiting scandals. So he is a good guy. And that makes it tough. And he's not, he just hasn't done a good job recruiting and hasn't done a good job coaching. And it's sad to see. I mean, we had a fun run in the Pac-12 tournament before in 2019, I think it was. We had the tournament win. We won the Pac-12 outright. All that is fun, even though it sucks that it didn't work out. And they are, I think it was here, yes, they're buying them out for $3 million, $3.1 million. I'm not really sure if that affects them too much in terms of money moving forward for the next coach, but I guess it's not, because I know that they're ready to bring, the AD is going to be ready to bring real basketball back to the University of Washington. Hopkins only had one more year left in his contract. It wasn't worth it to ride it out. And I hate saying that because I really thought this was going to be a big deal when Hopkins got hired, and I think many people thought it was going to be a big deal. One, he was supposed to be Jim Boeheim's, successor at Syracuse. He was highly regarded through USA basketball and different things. So everyone believed he was that guy. They got their, if you look at football, when we get Kalen DeBoer and Jed Fish, those are people that were supposed to be a lot of the next guys up, right, on big jobs. Jed Fish already kind of did it at Arizona, but Kalen DeBoer, I feel like he was kind of like a Kalen DeBoer hire, right? He was one of those, the next guy up who's going to be the next really good coach, and it just didn't work out. So I feel bad. It sucks, but he'll probably get another job at a smaller school. Romar went to Pepperdine. I think he could even get a better job than that. He might be able to get a WCC job, Mountain West type of job to kind of get back to seeing if that's, where he can get to. And let's just go through a couple of, before we talk about what coaches could be there, I just want to look at a couple of things here. The reason this is so frustrating is year one, 2017, 2018, right? He was the coach of the year in the Pac-12. And then year two, he was also coach of the year in Pac-12. So first two seasons of Mike Hopkins out of these seven, right? Yeah, out of these 7 seasons, the first 2 seasons, Pac-12 coach of the year, Pac-12 coach of the year. You think that there's, direction now. You're like, okay, here we go. We're about to get really good. Year one, they were 21-13 with a really hard strength of schedule. 2018 and 2019, this is where it gets interesting, right? 2018 was 27-9. They started the year at 25th in the AP poll, and their highest was ever 25th. I think they dropped out of it a few times, but they didn't finish in the top 25. But despite not finishing in the top 25, they were the regular season Pac-12 champions, and they made the NCAA tournament, and they made it to the second round. So it was first round, they beat Boise State, I believe it was. No, these are NIT results. Sorry. First round was Utah State, which was number 25. We beat Utah State, and then they lost to North Carolina by 20-something in the round of 32. Now, why this is frustrating is because I just mentioned 2019, right? Outside of 2019, that's one time in the last 6 years. Outside of 2019, the last time before was 2011. So it's been 2 times in the last freaking 15 years almost that we've made the tournament. And there's been a big gap. I mean, this is what we were used to was 2014, 2004, 2005, 2006, all made the tournament 3 years in a row. And then 2009, 2010, 2011. We had from 2004 to 2011, 2 different times where we had 3 straight tournament appearances. And we had 3 in 6 different appearances, 3 Sweet 16 appearances too. Now, obviously, you want to go even further than the Sweet 16. But I'm just saying, early 2000s, we were used to at least a stretch of 2004 through 2009. No, 2004, 2006, 3 in a row. 2009 to 2011, 3 years in a row in the tournament. And then you just have 2019. That's it. 2019. So when you look at this, okay, it was a great year. You're thinking it's only going to get better, right? The next year they went 15-17. So you go year 1, 21-13. Year 2, 27-9. Regular season Pac-12 champs. NCAA tournament. Win a game. Back-to-back head coach of the year in the Pac-12, Mike Hopkins. And then just collapses, right? We start that season. We got I think we started a little hot because we hit 20th in the AP poll, the highest ranking he's ever hit with the Huskies. But finished that season 15-17. The following season, 5-21. Should have been fired there, in all honesty. I know it was 2 years after a tournament, but we should have known the writings on the wall. And the last 3 years have been pretty much the same as what we've seen. A team that can win some games like last night against the Washington State Cougars, 17-15, then 16-16, and then this year 17-14, I believe it is. I don't know if that's considering last night or not, but either way, it doesn't matter. 17-15, 16-16, 17-14. And remember, a lot of those wins come from non-conference as well. We have a losing record in the Pac-12. It's the final year of the Pac-12. We're moving forward to the Big Ten. It's time to put more firepower in this. You're about to go to the Big Ten. All right? Like, you can't be – we can't start off this bad. We can't be bad starting off in the Big Ten. You got to make a presence, start good. You're no longer one of the top dogs, right? I mean, the big thing is when we were in the Pac-12 – I would say Oregon, obviously, and then you look at some of the California schools like UCLA and USC. I'm talking about like the destinations that people really, really want to go. Colorado football now is changing. That's different. I'm talking about for a while. Washington and Oregon up here and down here, like that USC and UCLA. And UCLA didn't see much success in football that often, but basketball did see a decent amount of success. The point really is Washington, Oregon, USC, UCLA. Now we're going to a conference that also includes Ohio State and Michigan State and Maryland and all these different teams, right? And Purdue, who's like one of the best teams in the nation right now. I'm pretty sure if we look at the top 25 men's basketball right now, I want to see how many are coming from the Big Ten just to explain, like, we're not that guy. You know what I mean? Like, we're not those – We're not the top dog when we get started there. That doesn't mean we can't be eventually. But Purdue is like the top dog, obviously. Purdue is 3rd in the nation. They're there. Illinois has been good at basketball. Nebraska, Northwestern, Wisconsin's good at basketball. Iowa, Michigan State, Minnesota, Indiana, Ohio State, Penn State, Maryland, Rutgers, Michigan. Michigan's really bad right now, but it's not going to stay that way. Maryland's not good, but they got to figure it out eventually. Regardless, a lot of these teams, Wisconsin's been very good at basketball for many years. Michigan State's been good. Indiana, Ohio State, Michigan, Maryland. You're not like the top of the pyramid right when you get to this Big Ten, right? Like you're not in the Pac-12 anymore. So it'd be a concern if you start off awful for 4 or 5 years in the Big Ten because there's a lot of other teams that are going to be ahead of you there. So you have to fire Hopkins, get a new coach in there, and try to get started on the right foot in the Big Ten. Otherwise, it's going to be scary, and that's the biggest concern there. Now, I think the funniest one of them all for us to hire would be Kyle Smith from Wazoo. His extension was tabled. His potential extension was tabled until at the end of the year. They're going to be playing in the WAC or the WCC, whatever. Sorry, I think it's the WCC. They're going to figure out conferences for the next couple years. Budget restraints. They're not even knowing where they're at. If Washington gives him a good contract, he brings over some of his recruits. He brings over what he's built at Wazoo. It should be easier to build at UW. All of a sudden, you bring Kyle Smith. I think that's a funny one because Cougar fans will freak out, number one. Number two is he's actually an excellent head coach, and he will be excellent, I think, if he's able to build that at Washington State and Pullman. Imagine what he could do bringing people to University of Washington on Montlake, recruiting there, the facilities, everything. So I think Kyle Smith would be a funny one. But I'm going over the Take Over the One podcast, I believe, on Twitter. They're plugged into college sports. I'm going to use them here, show them on the video here. Here's what they said. 2 weeks ago, Mike Hopkins will not be returning as a head coach. Tommy Lloyd was the number one target, but his extension takes him off the table. All the names on Yub's list, Sprinkle is his favorite. Danny Sprinkle. I'm not going to tell you that I know every single coach on this list. I'm being real with you guys. But I'm just giving you what the potential are. Danny Sprinkle, who is the Utah State University head coach. Utah State has been he's only 47. They've been continually in the top 25 this year, which at Utah State, that's impressive. He's actually born in Pullman, Washington, funny enough, which would be another funny one. A coach that is from Pullman coming to University of Washington to take the job. Another funny one. Number 2 on their list was Mark Pope. He is the head coach of BYU right now, who is also continually a top 10 or top 20 team this year, top 25. They've been in and out of it. Kyle Smith is on the list, of course. Kyle Smith, as you know, is the Wazoo head coach. I thought it'd be funny already. Nico Medved is the other one, who is Colorado State's head coach. Colorado State has also been in and out of that top 25, mostly in it this year. I like what they're doing here. Looking at a lot of the Danny Sprinkle, the Mark Popes, the Nico Medved, Kyle Smith, a lot of guys that are in the top 25, building really good programs, but at schools in a little bit of a smaller conference that would not mind moving to the Big Ten and seeing what they can get there. And last but not least, Iowa State's head coach, TJ Otzelberger. It's a hard one. 46 years old. Iowa State's also been in and out of the top 10, I believe. I think they're like, if I'm not mistaken, they're still in like the top 10 now. He had number 6. So I know that they've moved a couple in and out of the top 10 there, but they're still at 6th. So we're talking about some schools that you can, I don't know for him if he would do that. They're the second best basketball school right now. They're one game behind Houston in the Big 12, and it's a good conference. I don't know how much of an upgrade the Big 10 is when it comes to basketball. Big 12 might be a little better right now. They have Kansas and Baylor and Houston, Iowa State, BYU, Oklahoma, Texas. So I don't know if he would leave. I think UCF, they're like a bubble team. This would be interesting. So I think any of these are good options, but I'm going to look at a couple of those, like Mark Pope. He's, or not Mark Pope, sorry, Danny Sprinkle. He's born in Pullman, Washington, so he's the state of Washington guy. Utah State, you go to UW, it's a huge upgrade. Kyle Smith from Wazoo to UW. Fans would hate it. Maybe he's loyal. Maybe he loves Wazoo and he knows it's like a bullshit move and he won't do it. Who knows? Nico Medved from Colorado State. Very interesting because it's Colorado State. He would love, of course. They're making him a top 25 team all year. I'm sure it wouldn't be too bad to move over to Seattle and coach University of Washington. So here are some of the options. I hope you guys enjoyed. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's see what the Huskies do. I'm excited to see what they do. And I wouldn't mind to win the pack. Let's see if we can make a run in this tournament. I'm not saying the season's not over. Anybody can win the tournament. It's most likely not happening, but just being realistic. But at the end of the day, I'm excited to see what happens moving forward this year and who we end up getting as the head coach of the Washington Huskies next. Make sure you like and subscribe. Down below, there'll be a link to our Seattle Sports newsletter. Please get on the email subscriber list. We're going to be doing a giveaway at 2,000 subscribers. We're at 1,000 something for our email list once or twice a week, all Seattle sports updates. Eventually, we might split them out so you just get which one you pick. We'll do that in the future here. But please do that, SeattleOnTap.com. You'll see the email there, and I'll put the link in the description. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.